All right, welcome to the Paranormal Highway. Today, we're going to be talking about first contact. Will first contact be by satellites? Or some of you right now in the chat are probably saying, Eric, there's already been first contact. They're walking around us. If they are, I can't tell you that. But were they brought here by satellites? We have two awesome guests today. Ron, Cosmic Neighbors, who really understands a lot of these satellites and NASA, that has bigger knowledge that we have, because he studies it more. He watches NASA. He knows more. And then we got Dr. Wu, who you guys know, college archaeologist on the ground. So we're going to be talking about, if they are here, how do we study them? How did they get here? Is it by satellites? Is it by not? So we're going to have fun, kick back, go to the bathroom, get some coffee, get some popcorn after the intro. We're ready to take the ride on the Paranormal Highway. All right, guys, we're gonna have fun here today. We actually really are. I'm gonna use some movies as reference of like satellites and try to see if it's possible, if it's not possible, what are the chances of first real contact. I know people are gonna say contact's already here. Guys, just go with us on this. Now, in 1984, there was a one of the most underrated movies, my opinion, of John Carpenter, a movie called Starman. Very underrated. And anybody in the chat, you can actually watch it for free on Tubi. If Tubi's a free service. Starman is on there. Anybody who watched the movie Starman will know the beginning plot is they sent out a satellite, Voyager 2, into space.
Yeah.
And of course, in the movie,
to put a hat on too, then. That's it.
We're men with hats. Come on, man.
So in the movie, the satellite runs into a planet, and then they come to Earth, because we also put a record on this. So what I'm going to do real quick is I do have a video about the satellite that we sent out to space that was supposedly the one they not using the movie, but they mentioned it was Voyager 2 that had the gold disc. And then, I'll play this video, and then we'll talk about. Let me get it here.
The music on the disc
browser, so I'm still learning the ins and outs. But here is. It's called NASA. Actually, NASA loses contact with the one that's been floating around for 46 years, the one that's supposed to be in the movie. So let's just check this one out real quick.
Sent a wrong signal to Voyager 2, and now the space probe is on its own at a distance of 20 billion kilometers at a speed of 56,000 kilometers per hour. Take a look at
we're going to see this, but guys, just so you know, that satellite in that movie, it's still out there floating.
Yeah.
It's still out there. Now,
its batteries are still working.
But they're going to talk about the history of it also in this video. So that's why I'm playing it.
Our next report, as it explains the enduring legacy of Voyager missions, which surpass all records, surpassing any other space mission in history, in fact.
Voyager 1 and 2, planetary explorers. They are the farthest human-made objects sent into space, but there is a small problem for the American Space Agency. as it has lost contact with the Voyager 2 space probe.
Oh.
NASA says
that
they
idiot,
lost contact
that's
with
why.
the space probe on July 21st after a series of planned commands inadvertently caused Voyager 2 to angle its antenna away from Earth.
By 2
Launched in
degrees.
1977 by NASA, it is currently located at a distance of 19.9 billion kilometers from Earth. After an astonishing 45-year odyssey through the cosmos, this awe-inspiring spacecraft continues to thrive, beaming valuable data back to Earth each day. In 2018, Voyager 2 boldly ventured into the realm of interstellar space, surpassing the boundary that marks the Sun's sphere of influence, and embracing the vastness of the galaxy. Also, what's more interesting to know is that it had the latest technology of its time. NASA's engineers equipped the vehicle's computers with 69 kilobytes of memory. That's less than 100,000th the capacity of your mobile phone.
Oh.
Isn't it weird to think about for a second? I mean, the technology from there it is now, that these things are less technology than our phones have nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird to think about. Now, there is a little bit. I know. Let's just finish. There's only like a minute left anyway.
Originally envisioned for a mere 4-year expedition, the Voyager missions have far exceeded all expectations, providing us with unprecedented and spellbinding close-up vistas of Jupiter and Saturn's mesmerizing moons. These ethereal snapshots have revealed dynamic volcanoes and intricate ice fields, a testament to the boundless wonders that await us in the depths of the universe. Voyager 2 is now floating on its own, almost 20 billion kilometers from Earth.
Good God.
All hope isn't lost. NASA still hopes to be able to re-establish contact with the probe. However, it is programmed to automatically reset its orientation a number of times each year to push its antenna back to Earth. The next reset is expected to happen on the 15th of October. Till then, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Now, of course, in the movie, it hit the planet right away, but I'm thinking in reality, to hit a planet like that in the movie, it would take even like another 20, 30 years to get outside our own galaxy. Because now it is on our galaxy. But Ron, when it says it finally hit interstellar, what does that exactly mean? It finally hit interstellar.
It means it left our solar system.
Well, it is out of our solar system now.
Yeah, it's already in the heliosphere. Yeah, once that's why when you hear Avi Loeb talking about interstellar meteorites or things that come in there interstellar, that's because they came from outside of our solar system.
Yeah.
So that's what interstellar is.
Way out there.
You know, and the Voyager, it's incredible because, well, I said it before and that was too harsh. I said some idiot, but imagine how that person felt. They put in a command, an error. They made an error with the command, and they ended up pointing it 2 degrees away from Earth, right? And I believe it takes right now where it is. I think it takes 19 hours for the data to come here. So now they would have to either wait till October for it to, because that's where they were smart. They said they anticipated anything like that. So instead, if they were able that they couldn't have a direct line with it, that it'll automatically every quarter reset itself and reposition itself towards Earth. But I think they were able to piggyback off some other systems we have out there and some probes, I think maybe around Jupiter or by Europa, and I think able to make contact with it again. Now, I don't know if they were able to reorient it yet, but I know they're able to contact it, and worst comes to worst, they'll just have to wait till October.
Now there's I got a 34-second video saying something that where is it? Here. It's only 34 seconds.
NASA could regain control of the lost Voyager 2 probe after a heartbeat signal was picked up. Contact with the spacecraft launched in 1977 was lost when a wrong command was sent tilting its antenna 2 degrees.
Now it says, the video says NASA detected a heartbeat sound. Now, now what? So what technically, I know regular people, people in the UFO follows, they're probably like, it probably detected alien life and the government is covering it up. I'm just saying what
non-human inhabitant.
The average person probably would say, but what could cause like a heartbeat that's out there that's not alien life?
Well, they're not. Well, that's just what they call it, but they don't mean like an actual heart or like an artificial heart like that. It's just a way of saying that they were able to detect the system again, because when they made this error, that's it. They lost contact with it, meaning not just able to send data, they couldn't even track it anymore. It was like it's basically gone in their eyes. So by them able to, what I was just talking about, piggybacking off those other satellites, when they say a heartbeat means they were able to reestablish tracking again where it is.
And the reason I brought that up, because somebody sent me an email, Eric, they found the heartbeat. They're covering it up.
Like, it just means it's alive. That just means finding a heartbeat means it's alive. It's like having somebody on a table and they said he's dead, and he's like, no, there's a heartbeat, man. He's alive.
Exactly.
Now, on these Voyagers 1 and 2, just like the movie, there is a gold record that's on this ship. Okay. Now, I actually have another video to explain the gold record, but what's interesting about this video is something I never thought about it. If an alien, because the video will show it, if an alien life flies by it or if it hits a planet, well, how do they know how to play it?
Yeah,
it's a record, crying out loud. It's not a CD. It's it's an actual
I think
record.
They gave instructions on how to.
Yes,
instructions.
They did. And that was exactly what's in this video. So people, remember in the movie Starman, he goes, you invited us here. He read the disc. There's pictures on it. And this video is kind of a cool little breakdown on how they try to give them instructions.
Well, molecules. They use the basic principle of breaking down like a basic molecule, hydrogen.
Yeah, it's very, like I said, this is very, very interesting. So here we go. NASA's gift to
On September 5th, 1977, NASA launched Voyager 1 from Cape Canaveral, Florida. Almost 4 decades later, that craft is over 12 billion miles from home. Voyager carries a golden record containing a greeting from the people of Earth to the alien life form that may someday find it. On the record is a collection of images and sounds, a short glimpse into the soul of our planet. But since aliens probably wouldn't know what to do with a phonographed record, NASA had to provide a set of instructions on the record cover. But what could they say? How do you begin to communicate with a life form that evolved entirely separately from us? Scientists at NASA had to invent a code that anyone living in the universe might be able to decipher. So to do this, they started with what is by far the most commonly found molecule in the universe: hydrogen. This diagram illustrates the transition between the two lowest states of hydrogen. Any spacefaring civilization will probably understand the properties of hydrogen enough to know that when this transition happens, radiation is released, with a definite wave period. In human terms, we say this period is about 0.7 nanoseconds. This wave period is used as the basic unit of measurement for the rest of the diagrams on the cover. These are the instructions on how to make the record work. Assuming aliens wouldn't have record players like we do, NASA included one on the craft, with the needle already in place. These markings are binary code that define the speed you'd need to turn the record to get it to play correctly. Translated, we get over 5.1 billion hydrogen transition wave periods, or about 3.6 seconds per rotation. At this speed, you would begin to hear greetings in 55 different languages.
Like the movie, 55 languages.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
This would be followed by music and sounds from Earth, like a train in motion, crickets chirping, fire crackling, laughter, and a baby crying. This section explains how images can be pieced together from recorded signals. A replica of the first image on the recording is shown here, so the viewer can verify they decoded the signals correctly. In total, there are 116 images on the record. They show our solar system, our planet, and ourselves. Without much to erode it in space, the golden record is estimated to survive for 1 billion years, traveling aimlessly through the Milky Way. It's impossible to say whether Voyager or its twin, Voyager 2, will ever be found and retrieved by another life form. But, as Carl Sagan, who chaired the Golden Record Project, put it would be impolite not to say hello.
Now, guys, let's play what if. So, like the movie Starman. The alien craft receives this from the satellite. You know, the disc is basically inviting them to come.
Yeah.
Like the movie, they come in, good faith because we invited them. But then, of course, now I don't know, their technology is going to be better than ours so that they could get here. But when they try to contact the ship, now our technology would be behind. It probably, like the movie, probably did not hear the jets trying to do a conversation, right? Or like wrong with the technology. Is there a chance that we're not tight? Maybe I know this is all theory. An alien ship might not be able to detect their form of communication with the frequency on Earth.
Yeah, well, they would have a different form of communication. I mean, they might not even look like us. I mean, they might not even have like opposable thumbs. I mean, these guys could be like slime, energy. Yeah. They could be osmosis. I mean, like plants. No humans. You got plants. Imagine if a plant evolved into some walking thing. He just lives off the sun. You got no thumb.
Everything that's one thing I always talk about, Robert, is that like you'll hear things like, we found an exoplanet. It's in a habitable zone, and life may be there. Instead of saying life as we know it, everything has to be bipedal or this and that, or with wings. It could be something that has 9,000 eyeballs with 2 legs, with 18,000 legs. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could be just energy. Could be robots. Who the frig knows?
Yeah, I mean, because we instinctively, and everybody does it, anthropomorph. That's what we do for a living. We wake up in the morning, you hand your daughter a stuffed teddy bear. It's kind of looks humanoid. It's anthropomorph. You got to anthropomorph. So we think of aliens, we think of anthropomorphed aliens, little guys with big hands and a head and 2 eyes. You're like, no, eyes are the most complex thing ever in evolutional history. The eyes are complex. So like you said, it could have 20 eyes or no eyes at all.
But what I'm saying is we see the government shoot things down all the time. They don't recognize what it is. They'll just automatically shoot it down. But then you start thinking about it. Should we start shooting things down? I mean, we technically sent the stuff out, invited these guests to come here. I'm not saying every UFO is from outer space. We know spy balloons, all that stuff. Yeah. But should we automatically shoot
like
something down if they don't respond, since we technically are inviting people to come here?
Yeah.
No, you shoot if they're hostile. If they do something hostile, then you do what you got to do. But you don't just blow it out of the sky. You know what I mean? Well, that's my opinion, at least.
Well, I mean, we gotta understand culture too. I mean, theoretically, guys. So, if I go into the jungle and I'm meeting people for the first time, or it could be an alien, and so they come out and they greet me, and then they bring their firstborn child and they cut his head off, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Well, that's their way of greeting. I mean, he sacrificed his firstborn. In America, we don't do that. All right, America, we don't do that on Earth. We don't kill our first. That is an insult for me to say that back to them, because they have just given me a gift of that child's head. I'm like, what do I do with that? You wear it as a necklace, huh? It's a gift
in a crazy way. Okay, so you're archaeologist, like in the movie Starman, that they crashed. It was another kind of a form that uses hair DNA, so it can look like us, so we don't be as scared as we should be. But of course, you see your dead partner, your dead brother there, you're going to be scared. I mean, they don't know that.
They don't know.
But and the languages they know is whatever they learn from the disc itself that we send.
They say the mathematics is like a universal language.
Yeah, and you know what? we're going to get to the mathematics with when we talk about Contact, the movie Contact. But here, so Bob, you being the Smithsonian, working there before, and archaeologist.
Hell yeah.
If they capture like a Starman, how would they would they go straight to the body and want to see what's inside? How do you think they would treat the person that we technically invited to our planet?
No, they'd get a couple eggheads, the smartest. They'd get a think tank. You know, I mean, what everybody does, even in the military, even in the civil, it doesn't matter where you are. You get a think tank together. I mean, at number one, give me a group of guys and girls. When I say guys, I mean everybody. Give me some people to have a think tank thing. We need to troubleshoot first. You're going to troubleshoot first. Well, number one, you got to make sure this person isn't going to die, because humans are adapted to the environment. And when I say adapted, Eric, you've got little things living in your eyebrow right now that is part of your natural whatever system. It's eating dead hair within you. You know, you've got bacteria in your mouth. You got exterior bacteria living in your gut.
Right, because in the movie, he's going to die in 3 days.
He's going to die. Yeah, he doesn't have the worms for the digestive system. He doesn't have all those external enzymes in his mouth to break down food. He's running on empty. He's not from Earth. You know what I mean? So he don't have the natural biologies that the Earth provides. That's why they always recommend people walking around barefoot, because you need some of them parasites in your body naturally to break down materials. And so he don't have that.
Gravity will affect them. You know what I mean? So,
their cells,
so many
his cells.
variables.
Yeah, there's so many things, because he's not from here. So it's just the same thing as if the three of us went to the Congo. Well, I guarantee you, two of us out of the three is going to have some sort of dengue fever, or you're going to have some kind of parasite in you. You're going to be half dead. Maybe one of us might live. So when you go to any new environment, you're not going to have those living organisms in that environment that naturally protect the peoples that are there. So you said Starman showed up. He had 3 days to live because his body was breaking down.
And you know what, Bob, you're right, because sometimes we go to New York from Washington. Sometimes you do get sick.
You get sick.
You're not used to the kind of sickness they have around there. The small viruses. You know what I mean? We haven't.
I was in Europe. I got sick in Europe when I first got there. Obviously, I'm getting the biologies. I had serious
and that's
allergies.
Not even going to the jungle that you're talking about. That's going to regular places that you're not used to.
Yeah, I got back here and I had to eat the local honey, because as you guys know, local honey has the local pollen and all the stuff, all the flowers in the area from my immune system, so I won't have allergies. That's why everyone has allergies. You know what I mean? Like, this guy has allergies because you're not from here.
You know what's interesting? Hold on, you got something on there, because I went to an allergy doctor here in Washington. They said that sometimes, because I told them, man, I moved here, I had no allergies, and the doctor goes, well, sometimes it takes about a year. Once you're the year in that environment, the allergy starts to come in. But sometimes it doesn't come in right away. It takes your body being adapted to the new area that you're in.
It takes years. You know, it takes a while to adapt to the environment. So imagine this guy coming here for the first time. He's basically said it in the show. I've got 3 days, and as you watch the movie progress, he's dying.
Yes,
you can see his cells breaking down. He's dark around his eyes. His mouth is starting to dry up. His body it's not protected. He's dying.
So unlike the movie, they're not going to have the operation table ready. They're going to think, they're going to want to talk to it.
Yeah,
we're not as you're saying that we're not as mean, as harsh that the TV or
he'd be a bubble boy. He'd be a bubble boy. So if you have you know the Bubble Boy, the movie, was hilarious. He'd be a bubble boy. You would have an. Yes, you would be a boy in a plastic.
John Travolta, that's the movie.
John Travolta, yes. You would have to build a bubble first. And you would have to have some kind of working idea from the extraterrestrial itself. What are we doing here? Because like right now, we don't breathe much oxygen. People think we breathe oxygen. No, you don't. 98% freaking nitrogen, not oxygen, hardly at all. So what if this adapted comes from a place that has high oxygen? And then he comes here to Earth. It'd be not enough oxygen for him. They'd have to make a bubble. It'd be a boy in a bubble. Number one. And then you could start the conversation. After you build the bubble.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. Number one.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, do you remember that? It was fake. It was proved faked. But you remember that thing? It was called Alien Interview.
I saw it.
But if just thinking back to that, it would be similar to that, like where the thing just start going like this, and it's like it's like anywhere. If you're not from there, you're gonna have a reaction, and it could be a deadly one. But I don't think they would ever let us see anything like that.
No. And if you could make a movie called Bubble Boy with John Travolta, and we know about that problem of the immune system, you think that the United States government and the think tank can't build a bubble for that's extra? What if John Travolta showed up as extraterrestrial? They put him in a bubble. Why is this interview of this alien snot coming out and they're wiping his face with guys in white suits? I'm like, bullshit. Did they do that to John Travolta in the bubble? No, they weren't in his bubble. There was nobody behind John Travolta with it. We got that basic technology. I'm sure if we had
when you say bubble, is it kind of like the movie E.T. when they knew E.T. was in the house and they covered the whole house in
with
plastic?
The bubble.
The big bubble like that.
You should watch that movie. It was just that, like, in his room, it was all sealed off. It was like sectioned, and he was behind this plastic bubble. And his parents, and that he couldn't make contact with anybody because
JoJo wrote E.T. Like that's a good point. Like in the movie E.T., they actually created a big bubble, and everybody's in suits.
It's not complex. This is not rocket science. This is television. This is like watching a guy in a bubble, and you have the concept of why this person, because they have their compromised immune system.
And even so you have E.T. was dying.
He was dying. Yeah,
he was dying too.
Of course, he died. Yeah, he was dying. He was having allergy attacks. His immune system was constantly compromised by invading outside, extraterrestrial things inside of it, because it's not from here.
And then, of course, in the Starman movie, they tried the idea he's going to go to that crater in Arizona.
Yeah.
Which some people are saying, that's supposed to be a meteorite. But, of course, in the movie, that wasn't a meteorite. It was actually a ship that goes in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are the chances? I mean, seriously, what are the chances? Ron, what are the chances that that's not a meteorite and that technically could have been a ship that landed in that crater spot in Arizona?
I mean, look, anybody can say it. I say anything's possible. I believe anything's possible because if you just think about us, how the human body works and how everything on this planet works, anything's possible. You know what I mean? But I'm still thinking about I don't like to bring him up too much because I kind of lost a little, not to get into the Avi Loeb thing. But like when he suggested that Oumuamua, right? And he came out and said, that's possibly it could have been a scouting ship. Or, I mean, and this goes back to what Robert was talking about a little while ago when he's talking about like what an alien's anatomy might be or anything. We don't know what their ship may be. It may just look like that. Just like a meteorite.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the skin outside, how they transform it. Maybe they're parts of that rock. That's the alien. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think anything, and with the Voyager, it's amazing because they sent that out to, like, it was really to research Jupiter and Saturn and all that, and then when it took its pictures sent back and it just kept going, it's amazing that I'm still amazed that
46 years later.
They're traveling like over 35,000 miles per hour and it took 43 years at that speed for it to, I think in 2018 when I think Voyager 2 finally went interstellar. Traveling, imagine 43 years at 35,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And just left the solar system. And we're just one of millions or billions of solar systems in this galaxy. It's just crazy when you think about it.
It's crazy to think about the technology of those Voyagers are less than our phones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the pictures aren't going to be like HD. Now, JoJo wrote, how about if the actual ship is organic?
That's true too. Well, you know, back to Voyager, I actually feel sorry for any civilization that came across it because it has nuclear batteries. So you can contaminate an entire planet and kill it with that. If it landed on it's got nuclear battery. I'm like, okay, so how is this thing in? Okay, so in 70s we had water inside of our batteries, and this thing can keep going. And I had to research, like, because I worked at the Museum of Flight. And I'm like, what's in these batteries? Well, it's nuclear. So you're sending a nuclear weapon to another planet? Well, it's not like that. It's in space and it's communicating. But what happens if it crashes in a place that's civilized with nuclear waste? No, it's a joke. It's an atom or everybody's joke. It's like, it has nuclear batteries. Go ahead.
Yeah, they tapped it into also, they were saying, and I mean NASA, when I say they said that they believe they could get another maybe 10 and maybe stretch out to 20, but probably they're comfortable with 10 more years, because what they're doing now is they have other systems that they're able to tap into for power. So that's what they've been doing. But eventually it's just going to go dark.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it's too far out. Besides, it'll be too far out.
I'll laugh that this gold record. We put a gold record, right? And we think that they're gonna like figure out how to play it, but when they find it, it'll be like some alien, like, you know, junkyard dude looking for copper or something. Oh, that's this. It just melts it down.
It's like, don't open that, because that will melt down your entire planet. That is a nuclear meltdown.
Pictures here. What are these lines?
Why do I feel funny? I feel like I've got radiation on me.
Let's go to a different kind of satellite in pretend movie. So the movie Contact is basically normal satellites, sends out a message out there, and then the message it got back was in math, that supposedly, in theory, that we're not going to have, since we're not going to have the exact same language, the mathematics is the language of the universe, you know, the same.
Well,
but the thing is,
it is now.
But how? But I'm always wondering, 'cause I don't pretend that I'm a genius at all, because I'm not. But how is our math going to be the same as their math on their planet? You know what I mean? I'm sure they're so far along.
I think they talk about more like binary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, would if they send us a message using math? Is it going to be almost next to impossible for us to recognize it and try to break down their math?
Well, you get it.
That's what we say, though. That's what we. I'm sorry, Robert. It's just that's what we. It's speculation. To be honest with you,
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, we just don't know that. Just like physics, how we know it, right? But there could be a whole other realm of physics, and we're just on the tip of it, and there's a whole other thing that we have and I'm sure we have no comprehension of, like nothing. Well, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Well, no, it goes back to like here's a brain teaser for people to play with in their heads. Now, we got this thing called the double slit experiment, right? Okay, so this is on the same subject. I know it's going to sound weird, but double slit experiment. When you have an observer, the lines go straight, right? If you don't have an observer, it turns into a wave. So when you're looking out at space and everyone's looking down at their cell phones, but no one's looking up at space, and you don't have an observer for fucking space, and you're having light and photons and everything out there, it's the same concept of the double split experiment. Are you not? Is the tree falling in the forest, or are there waves up there? But we don't see waves; we see lines. That means there's an observer. By sending a probe so far out, you're actually sending an observer. So what it's perceiving in information and sending back, is it in fact sending back straight lines of information, or is it sending back waves? So it's not seeing one half of the game. If it's an observer, which is that's what the probe is, then it's only seeing what you would see in a double split experiment as lines. It's not seeing waves. But this case,
I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, so what it's perceiving could be two different things. Now, as you guys talked about, it was gone for a long time. So the information it gathered would be gone. There's no observer. So we're the observer through it. So we're the observer, not the machine. It's just the machine. We're the observer receiving the information. Once the observer was cut off, what kind of data was it taking in? Because now it's looking at waves. It's not looking at straight lines anymore. The information it is gathering is completely different than what we're perceiving here on Earth. So once we get communication back with it, we go back to seeing what it's seeing, which is an observer's point of view of straight lines. So he could see the universe as we perceive it in our mind as an observer. However, when we're not looking through it anymore, it was on sabbatical. The thing went sabbatical. It was observing an entirely different universe in waves. Remember that.
That's where we were talking. If you remember, Eric, I had done a show on it, and it was on the on that theory what Robert's talking about now, when we were saying, when people bring up, are we in a simulation, right? And I'm not trying to take us down a deep rabbit hole, but the thing is, when they did that experiment, and the particles, as they go through, it will come through as lines. But when they monitored it, when they would turn, it would turn to waves. It would spread out. And it's like only when it was being observed would it turn back. So it makes you wonder. That's why, I'm sorry. It's funny, my phone, when I get a call, says scam likely.
You're being stopped.
You're not observing. It's like, is whatever when you turn around, and they gave the best analogy. It was like when you're playing a video game, right? And you're playing. Now you see, as you're running, you see the whole town in front of you. Now, when you go to the right, you see the other part of the city. But the save GPU power, it only shows you what you need to see. It doesn't, like, the rest doesn't exist anymore until you go back the other way. Now that comes back again. So that's what the theory is with this. Perfect. Is it like, when it's not being observed, is it actually there? Perfect. Or does it actually just, populate when it's being observed?
That is well said.
So in simple words,
I've never thought of that. That's good.
Maybe you guys can answer this. So we're in a simple satellite, and I'm not playing sci-fi here, but when we're sending out a message, how long does it take our message to reach the interstellar, out of our solar system, to reach the interstellar, where we think that's where they're going to receive us? Is it like years that a message is, like, if we send one today, when would the interstellar receive that message?
Oh, it'd be a while. Well, I don't know. Well, here's the thing. When I go to the mountains and I go fishing and I have my cell phone, I get a lot of drops. God, I can't get anything on this. So I'm like, okay, so there's something that's like several billion miles out, and it can shoot a BB. It can shoot a hair off a tick's balls in China from the United States with a one BB. It's pretty damn accurate, man. And I can't even get a cell phone call in the mountains up here. But it seems to be sending communication back. So I always question a little bit. We get some information, but I don't think some of it's correct. Again, with the experiment, maybe they shut it off on purpose so they can maybe get data for certain types of waves to see if the observer is gone, what universe really looks like when no one's looking. What does a tree actually look like when no one's there to hear it fall? Same concept what he was talking about with the video game, which is a fantastic way of thinking about it. So here's this satellite in space. It's the same thing as the game console. Is exactly how he described it. Now you turned it off, and then you went for a cup of coffee, but the machine's off, but the game's still on, but you ain't there. So, it's what is it seeing now when this thing is no different than a video game console, the probe itself, but now it has the record, with all the information. So when it's giving information to whoever receives it, as an observer is there, are they getting it in 2-dimension or 3-dimension or 4? Is it getting the people in waveform, or are they in single line form? I mean, who's getting the information if there's no observer? Then who's getting information if there is an observer? See what I'm saying? What's the difference between the two?
And you wonder, you ask yourself, is it worth it? I mean, I'm just saying, because we're spending a lot of tax money on this stuff. Is it worth it? Do we think it's going to pay off? I mean, that's the thing. Rob, you know my satellites. Like, you sent out a signal. Like, you think it's worth it that we're doing this? Like, how long you think it can travel out from here?
Well, it's not even so much about traveling out, because if yesterday I put up that short, it was from, I think it was I think it was 2018. I could be mistaken. I forgot the exact date, but we launched TESS, right? That was the name of the satellite, TESS. I forgot the whole word. I could look it up for you. Let me see something here. TESS was.
I am truly fascinated with all this stuff.
Anyway. Yeah. So TESS was sent out. That's the satellite that has found thousands of exoplanets so far, right? So they're saying that is what I called it, that it's an alien hunter, virtually. I mean, in a sense of what we were talking about earlier about biosignatures, and if we're looking about a life form that lives off the stuff that we need to live. So that's a way that we could find life, because as this thing is pointing, finding exoplanets, it's finding the atmospheres, the oxygen, the hydrogen, everything, the nitrogen, everything on the planet, and that gives them an idea. You know, it's almost like the I always forget the name of the satellite. We had Arecibo. The Arecibo, before that tragedy happened, that was the first satellite that actually found amino acids, like on an exoplanet, and that's signs of like, well, that's part of the recipe for life.
Yeah,
you know, as we know it, I should say. So, and that's what James Webb, James Webb has that capability too, especially with the cameras it has. It can detect like the atmospheres and whatever is coming off, the gases and everything. So that
what was interesting about the James, that the images it receives are from, like, was it millions of years ago, because how light travel
billions
of years ago. So it's kind of weird that the images we're getting from the James satellite are from billions of years ago. It's not real time. It really blows your mind when you start thinking about it.
It goes back to when you always hear a light year. Well, that's what they'll tell you, like, because those galaxies, like you'll see the red and everything, it's called redshift. That's like some of the oldest as far back as it goes. That's who Hubble found that. And I don't mean just the satellite. They named it. It was I forgot his first name, but the astronomer Hubble, he's the one that discovered redshift. Those things it's like we're looking at something that's, let's say, 1 billion light years away. Oh, let's make it simple. We'll just say 100 million light years away. It takes 100 million years for that light to hit here. So when we're pointing something to say, oh, let's see, because we've seen some gases that we thought we send it. We don't know if that even exists anymore, because that light just got here from 100 million years ago. That could have been gone 30 million years ago. So we're sending out a signal to nothing.
Yeah, we also got to remember when it comes to they identify everything through color signature. Now, I worked at the Museum of Flight, and I worked in exhibits, and I used to put up all these wonderful, wonderful exhibit pictures and stuff, and we got them from NASA. Now, it's NASA's artist rendition of that area. Now, if you actually go back and look at the real hard data, there is no fluffy white looking cotton candy looking stuff. It is just little dots that are boring as hell of particular light fractions. And it's really not exciting at all when you actually see real data. It's like that looked up and saw dots. Now, them dots, when you see colors, it's not the color you're seeing, it's the lack of color. The lack of color you see on a particular whatever planet or whatever that thing is, the lack of color is in fact a signature for whatever chemistry it is for that planet. It's the lack of color. Now, people see the color. Color is the byproduct. It's like, I hate to say the word, but color is shit. It's given to you. Like, the plants aren't actually green. Green is the feces of the plant. That's the color you see back. It's reflecting back. It's rejected color. It's not the real color you're seeing. That's green is rejected. It's the one you don't see. So the lack of color in particular planets give you what chemical signature you have, like you talk about with amino acids. This one has high carbon. This one has lots of oxygen because of the lack of color for certain things. And they do everything through color scale. And with the new Webb telescope, they have a radar sensor that fills in the blanks like an AI. So it's missing things. and it's filling in the blanks, and it's basically guessing. It's guessing. Now it's data that guesses, and they're basing everything off, like you talked about, with colors. So you have a sun, and there's a dip in the sun. There's a dip. What's that dip? It must be an exoplanet that's dipping the color of the sun. Now you probably know a lot about that too. The dipping part, the light refractions, whatever will dip, which is
yeah. I actually searched on that Zooniverse for that. It looks like a V. It goes like that.
Yeah,
and that's when the exoplanet's passing in front of its host star or whatever.
Yeah,
you'll see the line will go like this. Whoop.
Yeah, that's the data. That's real data. Yeah. It's like it's boring data. Everyone sees the cool Star Trek stuff, and I'm like, that's awesome. I've got put up 100 of them pictures, but let me tell you what the real data looks like. It's just dips in the colors on a screen. It's like that's it. That's what you get. Well, where's the fluffy cotton
I'm gonna
candy?
find it for you, Eric.
Yeah, do that. Show people what it looks like.
And then
they'll be
upset. Bring it up right now. Here we go.
They'll be upset. You're gonna scare the children with boredom. Here's what it really looks like.
Here, Eric. Let me do this real quick.
Yeah, bring it up.
Can I bring this up real quick, Eric?
Yeah.
Yep. See that?
There's data.
Right
there it is.
And this is something I do. Yep. Where was I on this?
That's it.
Oh, right here. So this is the light curve. And so what I do on this, like this is, if you want to do it, it's called Zooniverse.org. And it's like for citizen scientists. You want to sit down and look for help them find exoplanets. Well, they show you how to do it. And this is what you're looking for. This
That's what you're looking for.
And it's a whole thing, exoplanets. So check that out, Zooniverse. But this is what Robert was telling you about right here.
Yeah. There's your data, guys. Now the NASA artists will take this data and make you a cotton candy universe out of it. Now he's using the information to make it, using the colors and the dip and everything to create. Now that dip, he'll do a planet in front of a star, and he'll fill in the blanks with all the information, the artist rendition of what they're looking at. But this is what the real data looks like with the dip. That's it. That's the real deal. There's your universe.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it for you because this is I know I just showed you that data, but it was here because I swear, like if I'm not sitting here looking for asteroids, I'm trying to help them find exoplanets.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at data. You actually look at the data. You're looking at the dip. You're not looking at an artist rendition of what it looks like. The artist renditions are beautiful.
Here we go. I think this is it. Discover Hidden World. Well, see, you could join right in, and this is how it teaches you. So I would encourage everybody, if you love this kind of stuff like I do, just go to Zooniverse. I'll send Eric the link so he could throw that in if he wants.
I'll throw in the description.
Yeah, it's not hard. Well, anybody can do it.
We're gonna go. People in the chat, you know this channel. Sometimes we gotta go little craziness here in a little bit. Bob, I think you're gonna like this little bit of craziness. Okay.
Cool. Let's see it.
We know
I'm actually
movie,
happy right now.
Well, in the movie Howard the Duck.
Yes.
Howard the Duck, they used a satellite. Somehow it crosses. I don't know exactly if they cross dimensions or something, or maybe multiverse, and they captured him. And they brought Howard to this planet. I'm not talking about bringing a duck to our planet.
Yeah.
But is the theory idea of somehow if we can invent a satellite that can break through, in theory, a multiverse kind of a deal and bring something across the universe somehow?
They shot photons and a high super-powered laser that supposedly went faster than the speed of light. So when Ron talks about something takes millions of years to get here, theoretically in the movie Howard the Duck, they had done it in seconds. They went past the light of speed. They made a photon that goes faster.
So,
into the
so they're
speed of
not
light.
going to another multiverse. They just made a thing
Well, they
that can
did.
actually go faster than the speed of light.
It went
and-
so fast that it went to an alternate universe where the humans did not evolve, primates did not evolve, but fowl did. So animals evolved. So Howard
It's called adaptation.
Yes. So Howard was pulled from a parallel universe where he went to go watch Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. And he probably has another person. In fact, Howard the Duck is sitting in America. He's sitting in America as a duck, but he's probably got a humanoid person that was reversed to there. So he's doing the same thing on the other planet, but as a primate with ducks. So anyway, he's here from a parallel universe, but he's a duck. And that theory is plausible.
Yeah.
That show really proved it. I like that. I mean, it didn't prove it, but it proved theories, which I thought was insane. I go, wow,
so
that's
technically
brilliant.
they can do it.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Ron? In theory, in your opinion, can that? You think? I know it's a funny movie, but actually, it's an underrated movie in my opinion.
I love it.
But you think we can develop a satellite that can go faster than the speed of light like that?
I think eventually we will, like that. I think it's inevitable. I think they're probably close to it. I honestly, I think that will advance really fast. Like our space program and everything will advance once they figure out that or accept, we're gonna have to basically give the world population energy for free or really cheap.
Oh yeah.
Because what I mean by that is when they come up with some means of propulsion, right? Some like real clean.
They have it.
Super energy thing, because it takes a lot of energy to travel at that speed. Well, that would be like the ultimate clean probably of fuel, and they would have to share that with the earth and people, like that technology. But unfortunately, that kind of a technology that would advance us in space would put a lot of a few oil companies out of business.
Out of work. Yeah.
And they're not going to let that happen anytime soon. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, my argument was always for people. When I worked at a museum of flight, aviation museum, I used to joke with the NASA guys because we're affiliate with NASA. I said, okay, so let me get this right. So you got Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 out there with these nuclear batteries, right? And it's been running all this time for fucking free. Yeah. And you can't minimize that and put that in a car? Or you can't put that in a building and then power up all these buildings? That same technology from the 70s that you put it into space it's nuclear batteries? They've got it. So the proof is in the pudding. Okay, so there's and it's still going, right? So there's Voyager with a nuclear battery, and I have to go outside with a battery jumper to jump my water battery, and they have that up. Why can't I just have that? Can you just give it to me in this big? I'll put it in my car, and I could run my fucking car forever. I run my house off the same battery. Go ahead.
Well, that's basically what I think a lot of it comes down to. There's a lot of tech and everything that they shelve because of these special interests and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I told this is true. I know I'm getting off it a little, but there was this girl, a 12-year-old girl. This is probably over 10 years ago. And there was some science contest they had, and you get a scholarship and grant money, like I think it was $50,000. This 12-year-old girl invented wireless charging that would charge your phone from 0 up to a full charge in less than 30 seconds. Right? Now, I know you're probably going like, wait, I didn't hear exactly. They put the story out. It was in all the papers, in the blogs. After that, I couldn't find it ever again.
God.
It was gone. You don't see it. They probably bought that out, put it in the shelf, probably in the Smithsonian somewhere in the bottom shelf like that in a locker. And that's it. Because that would have changed everything.
Oh, yeah, it would have. Yeah,
All
we
the
could.
chargers, you know how they keep coming out with USB micro, USB mini, USB-C, and then
Yeah,
3.12. All that would just go bye-bye.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you know,
We could thank the greatest plagiarist ever on the entire planet ever, Einstein, for that one, because he was a patent clerk specifically put into a special place within the German government to set aside all wonderful patents for all kinds of wonderful inventions. And homie set it aside. Not only that, he stole half of their stuff and put it out as his own freaking his own stuff. I'm like, nah, the dude was a patent clerk, man. If I'm sitting in an office and everyone's submitting their new technologies, I'm not going to steal it and make money off it and then write papers and get a prize. This guy was, again, you're correct. All these wonderful patents and they're gone, like hydrogen run cars. Now you can run it off water and it's a basic child can do it. I knew a guy who was really smart, who didn't want to go that entire route with a hydrogen. He took a hose and put it into his gas tank. And he didn't put the hose into the gas. He put the hose above the gas where the gas itself produces its own liquid to gas. It absorbed just where it became a gas, not a liquid. He just took the gas as a gas form, and he ran it into his carburetor and ran 1 gallon of gas for probably 100 miles.
wow.
And all he did was take the gas as in its gas state, not liquid state, from his gas tank. From the gas state, he designed a gas tank where it's in liquid. It releases gas like it always does. You know, you always smell gas. Oh, that's gas. That's still combustible. He took that and ran his engine. That guy's concept for that simple little thing is gone. Like they took it. They like, you're
That's
not
why they
running.
have all the regulators. That's what the regulators are for.
Right.
The regulators are there to say, nope, that's not safe. Can't use it. Boop,
Can't use it.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
all the other stuff.
They say hydrogen engines blow up. Okay, no, they don't.
Yeah. So finding aliens, like in traveling at the speed of light, it can happen. They could do it on paper. It's possible on paper. It's just the amount of energy you need like that. It's like almost the amount of energy that you would need from Jupiter alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Our
to travel
technology
like that.
can't
So
do
they
that.
have to figure that out.
It doesn't
you
mean
know?
out there technology, they don't have that already. So here's a
Yeah.
question I was wondering. I was thinking about this during the week. I don't know why. Because Ron, I think you were in that chat on Monday. I was doing the show. What's the bigger story, Roswell and Maury Island? And one of the theories that somebody told me that, Eric, you know, the Maury Island, there were 6 round ships. Some people believe that those were the same ships that were around Roswell, and one of those crashed again. And then I remember I was thinking maybe they're all from the same clan. And somebody goes, somebody in the chat goes, no, they're from different planets, whatever. Because there's different planets that visited. Then I started thinking, how do we know that? I mean, the chances of one planet visiting us is a lot. It's a huge percentage, and I think we have been visited. But what are the chances of multiple planets are visiting us? What if all the sightings, if we believe they are from out there, are really just from one planet? They're not, because we have different jets, different planes, different styles. Why can't that planet have different planes or different ships?
Yeah,
but I would like to ask that person. So if the person's here, by the way, because I don't know who asked that, is honestly like, what basis, like, do you have like a fact or something to state that on? You know, like that. Oh no, it was from somewhere else. I mean, I would like to just know, and I'm not saying it to like.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I want to know, like, because my thing is this. That's why I like to inject, in my opinion, like that, because it's at the end of the day, like Eric always says, and he's correct. At the end of the day, it's all speculation.
Yeah.
Right. But
like
in my opinion, I state this and that, but sometimes people state things as like it's fact. Like, no, you're wrong. Okay, if I'm wrong, then tell me how you're right. Show me.
Yeah.
You know, you never get that. So, I mean, it's crazy, but you know what? I'm moving this week. On the 11th, I'll be moving down to South Carolina.
Wow.
And when I get back, when I'm settled, I wanted to do a video on, because, you know, NASA, they're testing the nuclear rocket for the propulsion.
Wow.
That's what they're going to be testing. I don't know if they want to test it by 2025, I think. But that's huge right now. I think they're sending up some tests real soon. I have the dates all screwed up, but they're working on that. Like now they're not saying that that's going to get us to the speed of sound. Not speed of sound, speed of light.
Yeah.
But that will take it from going to Mars taking 8 months to maybe 3 months. Like that, so
yeah,
I'll work on that when I get back.
So Bob, Bob, I don't know if you think we're being visited or not, but if we are, you think maybe it's just really all just from one planet? Like here on Earth, we got different style jets, different style airplanes, big planes, small planes. A planet would probably have different style spaceships for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm more of a, objects can't exceed the speed of light, actual objects, but light can. That's why I always keep going back to my favorite movie, which is Howard the Duck, when they actually didn't launch a satellite, they launched light, laser. Lasers can be perfected to go fast. Only you can't have an object go faster than the speed of light. However, you can have light. Photons can, if done correctly and whatever. So if you could have that sort of technology where you have light that goes faster, then you can have interdimensional travel. So who's to say that they are not from just a different frequency? Okay, so you have frequency. So we'll say Earth is 100. We're gonna say we're gonna be general. Earth is 100. Okay, so and then this frequency is a different number. So somehow this frequency wants to get into this frequency, and when it comes into this frequency, it has to adapt to the 100 number. So what to become reality? So it has to come into this frequency. And when we talk about these things crashing, dude, and we made a joke about it, was from the technology and all the evidence, or whatever they want to talk about it. When they talk about motherships lifting up entire tanks into the sky, you can't tell me that it has its own laser vacuum cleaner to pick up its own broken pieces. Like if something crashes, something this advanced can't pick up its own garbage. I don't think so. I think these things were blown up on purpose. They were set here specifically for parts and pieces for us to move around and play with. So, I mean, right. Yeah, I mean, so these are interdimensional. These are not, because they fade in and fade out. They fade in and fade. I've seen it myself. They fade in and fade out, which means they're changing frequencies to match the line here to be reality. Other than that, it's a shadow. It's just a see-through object. It's not 100% the frequency here.
It's you know what, I agree with you, Robert, and because I know people think, people know space is big. No, it's really big. I mean, space, our Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, just this galaxy. 100,000 light years to go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Like that, right? It would take 100, it takes 100,000 years for light to go from one end of the galaxy to the other, and there's probably trillions of galaxies.
Yeah, the Milky Way is an itch in the universe's pants, man.
That's it. And like us, we're that speck of sand. I can't. It's beyond comprehension. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. So, like what he was saying, for itself to travel, like you have to think about this too. It's like, really, when you think about the universe as a whole, right? Like all these other alien planets just said, "Yep, they're it. That's where we gotta go." Them, like that. Like, no, I don't think so. And I'm not saying that aliens never came here or anything. I think the universe is teeming with life.
Yeah,
I think, you know what I mean. All kinds, not just bipedal or whatever, or fish and everything in every water. Who knows? There could be just a form of life that's just an energy.
Yeah, and we got to remember, we got to split our minds too. Now remember, we're having two thought processes. You have observer universe and non-observer universe. One are straight lines and one are waves. So we only think of the observable universe, which is the little grays, the spaceships, the idea of planets, exoplanets, blah, blah, blah. That's the observable universe, which is when you go back to double split, that's the lines. But what you don't see is beyond that, that's waves. That's an entirely different mind concept that we can't have, because when we observe, we see objects. We turn our back, it becomes waves. It's something else.
You can get lost in all this.
Incredible.
Yeah,
you can really get lost in all this stuff. It's amazing. And then I hear you, and Bob, I hear you. Like if there is technology for them to come here, they probably would be able to pick up their stuff.
Why wouldn't they not be able to?
Or they have it crashed for a reason.
For a reason.
Yeah. And
it's
and if they do come here, it is to observe us.
Yeah, it's an observable action for an observable people.
I hate to say it, like Star Trek the theory is we going out to observe, not to interfere, to observe.
Yeah.
And if they're here, they're here to observe us, to see how far along we are. And
by
maybe
giving
you're right, Bob. Maybe they crashed something on purpose. So
observable material. Observable material, observable ships. Everything is observable. It's when we could see it. We could see it. We know it happened. We can talk about it. Ron has a conversation. Eric, you have a conversation. We're talking about the observable universe. In our observable universe, we had some things blow up. Now, I know they could be picked up by the freaking ultimate mothership garbage can fucking garbage guys, but they didn't do it. So the objects were here. Observable objects were left behind for us to play with. Now, the big boys have them behind the curtain. What do we have here in our little think tank? I don't know, man. It looks weird. Is it a lighter? I'm going to smoke it. Let's smoke this. Oh, it's observable. It's usable. It's palatable. It's an observable, useful tool that was given to us in an observable universe. Well, now remember, everything else is not observable.
I tell you, we gotta have a part 2 of this later, because there's so much you can just dive into.
Well,
there's a lot, and the idea of this show was to show how important satellites really are.
Yeah,
they are really important to help kind of discover
they're really helpful
things.
to me, because me with driving, I get lost all the time. So if it wasn't for my GPS, I wouldn't be here right now.
That's true.
Yeah,
I tell you.
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
Ron also has Ron showed them the real science behind. Now, remember, I talk about when I was at the Museum of Flight, I put up artist renditions of the known universe. The real universe is what Ron had. It's a dip, and it's colors, and it's lack of colors that give a chemical signatures. That's it. That's what the telescopes pick up. Beep, beep. It's just, that's what you get for data. Everything else is an artist rendition.
And then next week, people, I know my Monday show is I'm doing another What's the Bigger Story? Is the Betty Hill abduction bigger than Travis Walton? What's the bigger story? We're going to discuss it on Monday. And guys, I want you guys to think of this on the way out. People in the chat, I know a lot of people right now are in love with David Grush. Some people are asking me, why would he do it? I just want you guys just on the way out, I want you guys to do your own research on this. He did an interview on BBC. Look up and find out how much money he got to go on that show. That's all I'm going to say. How much money? And you ask me, why would somebody do it? Just go do it yourself. I'm not going to tell you. Research yourself and find out how much money he got to go on there and who brokered the deal.
He did a dog pound along.
And remember what David Grush says every time. He hasn't seen anything, and everything was told to him. So everybody's believing this guy on what he's been told, like that. So,
but Ron, he is getting all the money.
Well, he did a Tom DeLonge. He did a Tom DeLonge. Yeah. So in the world of they call the phenomenon of the Mandela effect. Eric and I have coined the phrase. No, that person has been Tom Cruise. He's doing a Tom Cruise. In this case, he's doing a Tom DeLonge. What's up with all the Toms? It's kind of funny. So he's doing a Tom DeLonge, which means he's getting freaking feria, man. He's
getting money.
He's getting hashtag merch, baby. He's pulling that shit in.
But beyond that,
Tom DeLonge.
Everybody, we'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway.